Hello there, I am Man in Yellow, and welcome to something a little bit different. This is the first game that I thought I'd play other than Phobies on the channel, and it is something called Slay the Spire. This is a game that I have played a lot on my phone. I haven't played it on PC at all, but I assume that it will be pretty much the same thing. As you can see, if I look here, it says playtime 0. I literally just got it. And we will just go through it. It is a roguelike deck building game. For anyone who hasn't heard of Slay the Spire, it is one of the very popular games, so you may have heard of it. But in case you haven't, a roguelike is like where you go through a dungeon or a bunch of stages and you try and advance through it as you play. And deck building is pretty obvious. It's a card game where you build a deck and you play that throughout the stages. It'll be easier to see it than have me explain it. So we're just going to press play and I'll choose standard, and I can only choose one character because I haven't played anything else. It is the Ironclad, which is the first one that pretty much everyone is introduced to. It's essentially the warrior out of the classes, and it's pretty good in my opinion. I love this game, so we'll just try and play through it and see if people like that or not. So at the start of it, you just face this, you choose one of these four that you go down, and then you advance through it like this. You go through the lines and you pick which path you want. And it's pretty important at the beginning to look at where you want to go, because there are many different things you can hit on the map. You can see there are question marks, which are unknown stages. This could be a normal battle. It could also be something special, like an event or something. It could be a merchant, things like that. Then we have bosses, which give you, or bosses, it's elites, I guess. The final boss would be this up here. I think there's 3 stages. I mean, there's 3 stages for each. And like you can face one boss at the end of each one. And then we have like the elites or middle bosses, whichever you want to call them. And they give you some pretty good relics, so they are sometimes pretty good to go for early on. So you want to look at where you can get the most of them. And it would be something like this, I think. That would give us 3 elites on the way if we go through this path. So the question is then whether we want to take question marks or just enemies. I think I'm going to take question marks just because it's a little bit more exciting. So we're going to start down here. Oh, it will also have a tutorial apparently. Maybe I should have gone through that, but it's very basic. You can see you have shields, which give you shield. It's essentially temporary health. You have attacks, which deal damage to the enemy, and you can see what the enemy wants to do above here. So here, this jaw worm wants to deal 11 damage to me, so I can play 2 blocks if I want to, and then it wouldn't deal more than 1 damage to me, and then I can attack it. Could also choose to attack it twice and take some damage. That's also fine to do, but I'm just going to block it. You can see the cards in my deck here. You start with a very basic deck, which has some blocks and attacks and 1 good card, or like 1 stronger card, which in this case is Bash for this character, which deals damage and applies a couple stacks of a debuff called Vulnerable that makes it take more damage from attacks. We're just going to do that, and I'm going to block this again to take a little bit less damage, and we can attack it next turn while it still has the Vulnerable on to deal a lot of extra damage. And when you have no more cards in your deck, it just reshuffles and you go again. It's actually more damage to deal with the 2 strikes here instead of the Vulnerable. So I think I'm going to do that and just skip on getting the Vulnerable stack on it again. Also, we have relics up here. There will be more as the game goes. You start with a starter relic. In this case, it's called Burning Blood. And at the end of the combat, I will heal for 6 health. So damage you take during the combat is permanent, which is why you really want to like use this to your advantage. But for other heroes, you really want to not take damage a lot of the time, unless you have some way of healing. So we can see here the enemy wants to block and use a buff, so we're actually just going to attack it. It's not attacking us, so there's no reason to use a block. This is a very basic early game enemy. Once we kill it, we get some rewards, which you will also see here. Gain a little bit of gold, a potion, which is like an active for the game, that you can play for like 1 round or whatever you want to call it. So here it would just heal me for my health or 20% of my max health, and then it would disappear. And then at the end of every fight, you also get to add some cards to your deck. You can choose from a bunch of different ones here. I accidentally just picked one there. It doesn't really matter which one I pick, because this is just to show you the game. This is a decent one anyway. I didn't even get to look at the other ones, but whatever. It gains strength, so we deal extra damage with our attacks, which is pretty nice. I don't know if that was the strongest pick there or not, because I didn't actually look at them. But whatever. Here I can just straight up kill this small slime, the acid slime. It wants to put a negative effect on me, so this is pretty good to just kill it instantly. And then we block a bit. Also, as you do more runs, you can get much higher difficulties. This is obviously like very easy so far. We're just going to hit it a bunch and they're going to die, essentially. Put a frail on me, so I gain less block. Doesn't really matter because it's dead, so who cares? Gain some gold, and then we can look at some cards again here. I think I might just go with the Inflame again. Disarm is also pretty good though. I think I might actually go Disarm. It's very good. Both of these are pretty good. I think Disarm might be slightly better because we already have an Inflame. And we're going to take the question marks here because it's more exciting. And see some events. You walk into a room and find a large hole in the ground. As you approach the hole, an enormous serpent creature appears from within. It looks more than like a worm, if you ask me. Oh, it wants to give us a bunch of gold and curses. So we can either choose to take that or not. I think I will take this because we can remove the doubt, and I like having a lot of gold. Because we may find a merchant at some point. So now we have a curse in our deck, which is a very bad card. You can see here, can't play it, and at the end of the turn I become weak, which means I deal less damage with my attacks. So that's a card you really don't want in your deck. But we gained a bunch of gold, and at the merchants you can remove cards. So it's kind of okay. Another question mark here. Come across an inconspicuous pedestal with a shining gold idol sitting peacefully atop. It looks incredibly valuable. You sure don't see any traps nearby. Trigger a trap. So we can take this and it will let us get a lot more gold, and that's pretty good. It's a relic that lets us get more gold, and we can be pretty happy with that. So here it just tells us what relics do, and they are like effects that you have for the entirety of your run that empower you in some kind of way. Some of them help you with like merchants, like this one where you can see I get more gold, so I can use that at the merchant. There are also ones that work through combat, that's most of them. So we will see a lot of those as we go through this. As you grab the idol and stow it away, a giant boulder smashes through the ceiling into the ground next to you. You realize that the floor is slanted downwards and the boulder starts to roll towards you. So we can choose to get a curse, which is just an unplayable card, take a bunch of damage, or we can lose some health. And if we look here at the map, we are going to go up to an elite. So this may look a little bit bad to take a lot of damage, but I think it will be fine because we can also heal at the end of each fight, and I think we can probably deal with the elite anyway. So I'm actually just going to take the damage instead of getting the curse or losing health permanently, because we can heal the health at some point. I'm still going to go for the elite though, even though it's a bit dangerous. It shouldn't be that dangerous at this tier though. So here, if we look at them, you can see these specific enemies have a like kind of unique ability, and that is a thing that a lot of enemies have, so you have to be reading a lot of them. It has curl up, which means that when it takes damage, it rolls up and gains block once per combat for these. So we can do that. We can just hit them if we want them to curl up, and we can get the block out of the way. And I can block the attack damage dealt by this with just a defense. So I think I'll just hit both of them for 6 damage here. Could have also used an inflame to strengthen myself a little bit, but I might as well just get the block out of the way. Now I really want to kill this because it gains strength. I think I just have to hit it twice with a couple strikes. And we will block also again, just to not take damage, because we want to heal a little bit before we go to the elite boss, or whatever you want to call it, the middle boss. Here we have a curse, which is bad, but it's fine, because we are already killing it. We gain some gold, and you can see we get 3 extra gold because of our golden idol, so we are going to be very rich this game. And here we have a bunch of cards. We have Sword Boomerang, which deals 3 damage to an enemy 3 times. I don't think that's that great. It does work pretty well with me having some strength here, but it's not a fantastic card. I think this card is kind of bad, at least at the higher levels. I don't know, it's probably fine here because we are like doing the first run here, so it doesn't really matter that much. We have Clash, which can only be played if you only have attacks in your hand, and it deals 14 damage. And then we have Shrug It Off. I'm probably going to take Shrug It Off because it's like a pretty decent card. I think this is one of the best low rarity cards for this specific character. It allows you to draw a card and you gain some block. It's essentially just a good cantrip, if anyone else is familiar with that term. It's a pretty good card. Here we are facing a Lagavulin. I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to say that. You can see at the end of the turns it gains some block and the enemy is asleep. So when we wake this up, it will actually become pretty scary. So I'm going to start out by just debuffing it a little bit and getting some cards going, because I have things such as gaining strength, which I really want to do. Sleeps for a little bit, so we can do a couple things here. Still sleeping. Let's use Shrug It Off to draw a card. I'm looking for Emulate, but I didn't get it. I'm just going to pass, because I don't want to wake it up quite yet. Here we have our Inflame. We can Shrug It Off again, maybe, just to draw some cards. It doesn't really matter if I hit it here because it's getting blocked. And now it wakes up. And it doesn't have the Metallicize ability anymore. We are obviously going to take some damage here because it's dealing 16 to me. I still have the heal though, so I'm not that scared of it. And I'm just going to apply some vulnerable and hit it for a lot of damage. We will be taking damage throughout this run because that's just how this character works. You want to take damage and then heal a bunch with Burning Blood. And it's also just fine to take damage. We're gonna hit it a bunch again and we're going to block a bit of the damage, although not that much. I did also take 20 damage before we even went against this thing, so I didn't exactly make it look better for myself. I'm at half health now, but it's fine. It's also going to debuff us. Put a weaken on us and remove one of my strengths, which is a bit annoying. I could bash it again and just defend. I think I'm going to do that. May have been better to just hit it again and try and kill it next turn, though I'm not quite confident that I would be able to do that. Can Shrug It Off here. This isn't enough, right? It's 10, no, it's not quite enough. We need a little bit more. Just going to shield a bit. We can actually just hit it once, I think, and then defend again, just to take a little bit less damage here. Hopefully we can kill it next turn. This should be enough. And it's dead. Didn't even need to use the potion. Quite yet, at least. And when you kill a elite enemy, you get a relic. These are usually not that insane compared to some of the bigger relics, but they can still be pretty good. So every time we play 3 cards in a turn, we gain a dexterity, which improves block gain from cards. This is a pretty good one, I think. And we get Blessing of the Forge, which upgrades all cards in your hand for the rest of the combat? Okay, it's just a potion. Again, we get some cards here that we can choose from. Do I want Pommel Strike or do I want another Shock It Off? Not sure if Pommel Strike is that great. It's decent, I guess. It's not like a top attack card though. I usually want either AoE or things that deal a lot of damage as my damage cards on this. Those are what I tend to go for. Or just very cheap stuff. That can also be pretty good. Wonder if I should just take another Shock It Off. I think I probably should. Two Shrug It Off, I guess. I think it's a pretty good card. Here we can choose to either upgrade a card or we can heal for 20 or 30% of our max health. We are going to fight another elite here, but I think I might still just choose to upgrade a card in my deck and take the risk. Because some of these are pretty good if you upgrade them. So the cards in this game are ones that you can upgrade and you can see what the upgrade does, but to plus add them and it makes it a little bit better. So we can either like make the enemy lose 1 extra strength, or we can gain 1 more strength ourselves. If I take this, I would deal a bit more damage and apply vulnerable for an extra turn. You can also upgrade these basic ones, but that's usually a bad idea. You actually want to remove these basic cards instead. Shrug It Off gains a little bit extra armor. I think I'm going to take Inflame as my first upgrade. And we can see what enemy we are going against here. I think this was the right path. Actually, I almost forgot to look. Yeah, I were planning to go up here, so this is the right path. This enemy wants to use a buff right now. I think I'm going to just disarm it. Do I want to use Shrug It Off and cycle? Probably do. Oh, that was the wrong one. Let's not use it then. Should have played the Shrug It Off. Just to draw one, I think. I'm not sure if it's even correct to play the Shrug It Off though. Probably isn't. Okay, we are taking a lot of damage here, but it's fine. Let's apply the... Actually, do I want to just upgrade the cards in my hand? Probably want to upgrade the Shrug It Off. So let's not do that right now. Also want to look if I can play 3 attack cards in a turn at some point. That's probably not going to be possible here early on. Now I'm actually going to use this potion to upgrade my cards for just this combat. Because it is pretty important that I don't just straight up die here. So this lets me block a little bit extra and have some strong attack cards in my deck. 6 damage and a debuff. We can play this, right? Does gain some strength. Because whenever we block it gains strength here. I'm gonna vulnerable it. We're taking a bit of extra damage at some point because I blocked this, maybe. Unless I can kill it here. I'm hoping to kill it here. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to kill it here, unfortunately. Guess I'm just going to block a bunch then. I'll actually play another Shrug It Off just to take 0 damage here, even though it buffs it even further. Hopefully I can kill it next turn then. Should be able to. I only have 10 health left, but it heals a little bit there also. Start each combat with 1 dexterity, that's very nice. At least it will help a little bit with my very low health right now. I have a potion that lets me choose a skill card, make it cost 0. And we have some good damage cards here maybe. I think the clothesline is probably the best one. Warcry is also pretty decent. It lets me draw a card and then put a card back into the draw pile. So it lets you like have a bit more consistency. Headbutt is also kind of okay, I guess. I don't think it's fantastic though. Lets you like use a broken card over and over again by just bringing it back. But I think this is just too good. It makes them deal less damage and it does a good bit of damage to them. The plus line. I'm just going to pick that. That's probably the best like very low rarity attack that you can get. So And we get to see a chest here, which has Bottle Lightning. You can pick up, choose a skill. Start each combat with this card in your hand. This is usually a very strong, what's it called? Relic, in my opinion. Just going to choose Disarm because it makes the most sense to start with. We can also upgrade the Disarm at some point, and then it will be very nice because we can just use it every time. We have a lot of gold here, so it's nice to see a merchant. So at the merchant you can buy a bunch of different cards, you can buy some relics, and you can buy potions, and you can remove a card from your, what's it called, from your deck, which costs more every time you use it. Let's see if there's anything here we really want. I don't think there necessarily is. Don't think these are neutral cards. Don't think those two are that great for me, to be honest. So I think I'm going to look at the other ones. I can play this and play with strikes, but I'm not that big of a fan of that. Could pick another Disarm. That's actually pretty decent. I think I'm going to take another Disarm here. Obviously going to remove the curse if I can. Here, the doubt. We don't want that in our deck. That's very bad. So it only makes sense to remove. And then there's the relics, which I maybe should have looked at first. It may have been better to double buy. Start each combat with 10 block. That's like fine, I guess. Oh, this is just something that helps you with curses. Unplayable cards can be played and will be exhausted. I don't know how good that is. I don't think I've picked that a whole lot. The next two non-boss chests you open contain 2 relics. That sounds pretty good. That gives us 2 relics for the price of 1. Well, it costs a bit more, so it's not really the price of 1. But maybe I should have taken the armor to try and live here, because I could actually just die with how this game is going, but should be fine. We can choose some skills and we can heal. What do I want? Probably want to hit this with the plus line. It also has, these have something where you can't debuff them that easily. Now I'll put the strength down, I think. Or is it better to just defend? Probably fine to put the strength down. Actually, might just defend here. I am at 16 health. Dying is not a very good thing to do. They put some bad cards in my deck. Okay, the Shrug It Off is very nice here, because it looks like we would otherwise take a lot of damage. And then what do I want to do? Should I just bash this? Maybe I should use my skill potion. Offering is like, it takes a bit of my health, but it's also very nice. I think I might just take Offering even if I take a lot of damage from this. I think Offering is very good. Gives me some more energy to work with. So now we are completely blocking them. So I can buff myself up a little bit. And I can hit this with a vulnerable, so I can hopefully kill it next turn. It did deal a lot of damage to me though. We may have to also use the healing potion next turn, depending on what we draw here. Probably... Actually, we don't have to. We can just kill this thing. Doesn't really matter how I do it. They're both attacking next turn though, and I doubt I can get enough block to fully stop them. They're also adding a bunch of these annoying dazed cards into my deck. Oh, I actually got 2 Shrug It Offs, so we can fully block them. Going to kill the one with less health first. Now they're debuffing again. We can choose Disarm on this, but it's just going to get blocked by the what's it called, strategic thing here. Now they are going to add even more of these dazed things into my deck. Well, I guess it's my discard pile they added into it, but my deck is reshuffling, so I can't kill that, can I? 11, and then this would be a little bit. Actually, I think I can kill it because I get the extra damage here. I have to use the heal then, though. That's fine. We should be able to not take more damage here then. Let's rock it. So many dazed in this deck, look at that. I'm playing a little bit like more greedy than you normally would, because this is, like I said, it's a low difficulty, so I might as well. Let's shrug it off again. Hit it with this to remove the anti-debuff thing. Hopefully we kill it next turn, not that it really matters. I don't think it's going to do any more damage to me. Like that. Gain some gold. We have this. We start each combat with 1 strength. That's essentially the other version of the oddly smooth stone. We have some cards here. Do I want any of these? At the end of your turn, lose 1 health and deal 5 damage to all enemies. Don't really want that. I'm low health and I don't think it's even that great. Even though it's a rare. True Grit. Exhaust 1 card at random. That's also a bit weird. Do I want Body Slam? I could also just skip this. Body Slam can be pretty decent, but you need to build like an armor deck in order for it to be that good, I think. I think I'm just going to skip it. I don't really plan on playing armor. You can also just skip the picks so you don't take them. Then we wanted to go... Where do we want to go now? We got our 3 enemies, so we can choose where to go from here. I could take 2 campfires here. I think that's pretty good. It doesn't really make sense to go to the merchant because I have barely any money right now, so I just spent them. And it also told me that the next 2 fights give me, what's it called, relics. So either I go this way and I'm guaranteed to get 2 relics from these and I can heal once with this random event, or I can take this and I can maybe heal on one of them and I can upgrade a card on the other maybe. I think that might be better, even if I may get 1 less relic before I face the final boss here. I think I'm just going to take this and I'm going to smith. Smithing this or either the plus line or the disarm makes the most sense. To do it on this, obviously, because we start the game with that. I think I'm going to smith the disarm because I started the game with it, so it makes a lot of sense to do. Or we could also skip the question mark and get 2 fights. That's probably the best idea, because it gives us 2 relics. He steals gold when he attacks. Can make it lose a bit of strength here, then we can shrug it off and just hit it once. Against these like weaker enemies, I'm just going to try and not lose my health. That's the main objective. Inflame, shrug it off, and I guess strike it. Could have also tried to bash there instead of the inflame. I think it's amounts to the same damage-ish. At the end of the day, though, we're actually going to take some damage here because we drew no way of blocking, but it's only 5 damage, so we heal that anyway. Also, he took literally all of our gold there. Now he's going to try and run away, but he's dead. He can steal the gold back again, apparently. I mean, I've seen that before, but... Exhaust all non-attack cards in your hand and gain some block. I don't think that's all that great. Thunderclap. Is that good? I don't really think so. None of these are all that great. Could take armaments just to upgrade a card during the combat. That might be good early on here. May help me in the early combats. Doesn't really matter which one I choose here. It splits when it's at lower than 50% health. You can just disarm it and hit it twice here. So when this gets below 35, or when it gets below 36, it will split. So we may want to try and set it up so that we can kill it in one turn. Also, I'm going to block that. I should probably have blocked both. Or have blocked twice instead of applying the vulnerable. But I also kind of need to kill this thing. Ow. That hurt. Can disarm it again. Make it lose some strength. I guess I'll block a little bit, or it's better to close line actually. Probably better to do this. No, because it would go below if I did that. This would also put it below. We could cause it to split so we don't take damage here actually. It's a bit more annoying to deal with two enemies, but I think I have to do this so I don't take damage. We're going to ornaments to upgrade a card so that we can shrug it off and gain a bunch of armor. We're already fully blocking them, so I may as well start hitting them now. Maybe I should remove this slimed. Nah, I'll just kill it. And kill it next turn, maybe. Even if I'm getting a bunch of slimes added to my deck. Should be fine. Just straight up kill this thing. Because this is just debuffing me. But it wants to debuff me again. So I can just hit it for free here. Bash. And it's gone. Draw 3 cards. We don't really have the mana to use that, or the energy, whatever it's called. Brutality. Is that good? I mean, it's a high rarity card, but that doesn't mean it's good necessarily. Lose 1 health and draw a card. Don't really think I want that right now with only 20 health. How about Anger and Twin Strike? Anger could be fine. It's 0 mana or 0 cost, deal some damage. And we kind of lack energy right now. I guess I'll take it. I think I have to heal here instead of upgrade, which is a little bit questionable. Maybe I should have just upgraded and tried to beat it without taking damage, but want to make sure that I can actually beat this boss. Let's start out by putting some debuffs on this. And we can use ornaments to upgrade this rocket off for the rest of the combat. Since it's just blocking anyway, we may as well make sure that we are not, like, waiting too long. This is why I wanted to make sure that I healed, because you can see bosses deal a little bit more damage. I think I'm going to draw some cards so that I can get some ways of making them a little bit less dangerous here. Is disarm even good? Not really. Here. Certainly can hit them with anger. Do I just triple block? I guess so. Just to take less damage on this turn. Can try and attack it on the turns where it's not dealing 29 to me. See, now it's wanting to put a negative effect on me, so I can hit it for a bunch here. Also, when this boss takes a bunch of damage, it changes modes. So it will become a different version right now when I hit it for 3 more damage. That's important to remember. Can upgrade a card again. I guess I'll just upgrade a strike to hit them for a bunch. So now they changed their stance. Doesn't really matter what I do here, because I'm not going through that armor. Now they put sharp height on themselves. So then it's whenever you play an attack, take 3 damage. So I need to armor before I attack it. And I also kind of want to use big attacks. Unless I want to disarm it. Enemy loses some strength. Should be fine. Shrug it off again, just to block for a bunch. Will deal 6 damage to us here. We may have to defend again then, or we can just take a bunch of damage, but I don't really like that. Because I have these angers that I want to play and I'm taking damage from the, what's it called, sharp height. We're adding a bunch of angers into the deck, but it's fine. Right now, if I played an 8 bash here, I would take 3 damage, so I'm going to just block and strike it. Just to make sure I'm not taking damage for free when I can. Now after it takes 40, we can do something. We have reduced its strength by 5, so it does 0 times 4, which means it doesn't do damage right now, so we can just hit it for a bunch. That's very nice. That is the power of the strength reduction here. It's very good against single target enemies. This is a ton of damage also. It's definitely going to change mode. We can even hit it through all of this armor. Although now we have nearly only anger in our deck. It's only dealing 4 to us. Maybe I shouldn't even have upgraded. I could have also just attacked them for a bunch. This boss fight should be pretty over because we have -5 strength on them and we are building up both of the strength and dexterity that I have with the relics. So even just playing one Shrug It Off makes it very easy to survive here. I can't kill them, right? No, not quite yet, I don't think. Next turn though, I can probably kill them. I should be able to with how many angers I have. And here we hopefully get a good card. Normally you get some very high quality ones at the end of killing bosses. You either get double tap this card. This turn your next attack is played twice. I don't think I really have anything that insane to go with that. That's for like if you already have a very strong attack, I think. So I don't really see how that would be that good with my current deck. Because we don't really have a insane attack. I guess you can pair it with plus line and that's already a lot. Can also choose Impervious, gain 30 block and remove this card. I think Offering is probably the best, even though it eats my health. This is just insane. You gain 2 energy or mana, whatever you want to call it, and you draw 3 cards. At upgraded it draws 5 cards. It's pretty insane. This is just even more block. But this is 2 attack cards. That's very good when you upgrade it. I think I'm just going to take Offering though. And then we get a choice of 3 relics. During boss and elite combats, gain a extra energy on your turn. Gain energy at the start of the turn. You can no longer rest, which means heal at rest sites. or double the effectiveness of potions. I don't think that is good. At least I'm not like 100% into what the meta is or what's very good, but don't think that's very nice. I want some more energy. Either we can go coffee, dripper, and then we are unable to heal, which is a little bit weird because I just chose offering, but we do also have the healing thing, so it's not that bad. And on the other hand, we can do better against bosses and elites. I think I'm going to take Slaver's Color actually, just because that is where I really want the energy anyway. Like, whenever I'm facing strong enemies, that's when I take damage. I don't really take that much damage from the weaker ones, so this should be pretty good, I think. And then we can proceed, and as you will see, we get to Act 2, which is another map, and you go through the exact same way, and there's another boss. It can be many different bosses for the end one. And I guess I will just end the first episode here and probably do some more ones right after, so they don't end up being too long. Let me know if you like this kind of content, if there's maybe some other form of game you may want to see. I mostly like the strategic games because Phobies is a strategy game and it makes the most sense. Like, that's kind of the same audience maybe. So, like, don't recommend League of Legends or something like that. That wouldn't make any sense, I don't think. But if there is some similar game to Phobies or even to this or something that you'd want me to see me play, feel free to leave a comment and I will see you guys. Bye.